Okay, let's get rolling. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is our first webinar that we're hosting, kind of related to Smartsheet. We'll be doing every couple months going forward. So thanks everyone for joining. Excited to get rolling. The goal for today's is to kind of show how easy it is to put together an effective dashboard to show you kind of what's available with a dashboard and then show you a bunch of the different kind of configuration and customization options. We should be going, or I expect to go for about 20 minutes, give or take here, and we'll leave some time at the end for Q&A if you have anything. So as we're going through, please write any comments, any questions in the chat, and we'll save time for that at the end. So to start off, we'll just kind of set the scenario. We'll provide kind of context on what's been set up for this. We'll then kind of briefly touch on license requirements, again, just to provide context on what you need an account for, what you need a paid account for, just to kind of set the scene. We'll then build the dashboard itself. I'm going to move fairly quickly through that just to kind of keep things rolling. But again, if anything I do, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. I can see it. So if it's something quick and easy, I can just do it on the spot. Or if it's something that would take a little bit more time, I'm absolutely more than happy to get to that at the end. So for our scenario, we have kind of a workspace setup that contains our project portfolio. We've built out a couple different reports that are going to be used. We have our intake sheet, we have our metrics sheet. The goal for for us in our dashboard is to pull these all into one dashboard that will not only provide kind of a high level holistic view, but will also serve as kind of like a landing page and a navigation page. So we're going to add some links and add the ability to navigate to these different data sources and useful areas of the portfolio straight from the dashboard. So just to touch on license requirements, kind of as you can see, viewing dashboards and editing the underlying data does not require a license. All it requires is an account. So higher level users can fill in the cells on the sheets itself, or they can be granted access to these dashboards and view them with no paid license requirements. All you need a license for is the ability to actually build these dashboards out and build out the individual project sheets and reports that we're going to be pulling data from. But editing those sheets and viewing the dashboards requires no paid license. So awesome. Let's get into it. Switch this one. Awesome. So here's that workspace that we've set up. You can see we have these reports. So this one we're going to add to the dashboard, which shows all of our ongoing active projects and kind of information related to them. Then we have this budget breakdown report. We're going to add this to the dashboard, and then we're going to pull data from this portfolio intake sheet, which shows all of our ongoing and proposed projects, and our portfolio metric sheet, which we've set up to track kind of the status of projects, priority of projects, budget metrics, stuff like that. So all of the underlying data is all there. We're just going to kind of pull it all together now, basically. Let's create a new dashboard. First, we'll give it a title. And let's get building. Title, same thing. Save that. Slide that over a little bit. Awesome. The first kind of widget I'd like to add, I want to add something that's going to show what project is starting next, and we want to kind of be the first thing we see. So we're going to do that using a metric widget. Pull that down a little bit. And we're going to pull this data from the portfolio intake sheet. The first row will always be kind of our next upcoming project. That will automatically update, which means that this widget will automatically update. So that's super nice. We're just going to do some formatting here. So we're going to title this starting next. And we're just going to resize some things. Oops, we'll leave that one bold. Last one. Lovely. We'll save that. I'm now going to add some charts kind of below that to show, snapshots of useful information. I'm just going to resize this first. First chart I want to add is just a pie chart that's going to show the approval status of our different projects in the intake sheet. I'm going to pull that from the metrics sheet. Under status, I'm going to take these three metrics. Lovely. Just going to clean this up a bit. I'm going to do a donut graph. Shows it a little nicer. I'm going to move the legend to the right, and we're going to title this approval status. Oops. The other thing we're going to change is we're going to make the labels the amount, just to make it a little bit more usable. And we'll save that. Oops. The next one I want to add is a budget breakdown. So again, we're going to resize this first. Add data. Again, pulling from the metrics sheet. I'm going to go to budget. I'm going to take the budget, the actuals, and the variance from all of our approved projects. I'm going to make this a column. Again, for consistency, we'll put the legend on the right. And we can also show value labels on this. So when you hover over the different columns, you do see the value, but it's a little bit more readable if we just put that straight onto the graph, so that you don't need to hover over anything or drill any deeper into this chart to get that. Just get title of this budget breakdown. We'll save that. I'm going to add one more chart to this, but I'm going to do it in a slightly different way, just to show you a different way you can do it. When we're on a sheet, we have this right-hand toolbar. See this Analyze button? This allows us to do is actually just describe what we're looking for, and Smartsheet will create the chart for us. So I'm going to say, create me a pie chart of all projects grouped by department. Awesome. See, it provides this for us. We can add it to a dashboard. Management. And then we can customize this just as the other two graphs that we created manually. So I'm going to resize this. Place that in there. Edit this again, legend on the right, and we'll do by amount. Awesome. So we now have these three charts. We're going to add those reports that we talked about earlier. So up top, we're going to resize this. We're going to do that active by department and category report. You can have these Gantt charts right on the report. For our purposes, it looks a little nicer without it on there, but any report that has a start and an end date, when we add it to a dashboard, we can add or remove that Gantt chart associated with it. Save that. The other report that we're going to add is that budget breakdown report. Perfect. Super easy. We've added that in there. We can't control the formatting of this report within the dashboard. This is all configured from the report itself, which we created earlier. We just kind of drop it straight onto the report. So we'll save that. Awesome. Couple more things to add. We're going to add a timeline of all of our projects that we have in the portfolio. So we're just going to pull that straight from the intake sheet. Within Smartsheet, any data that has a start date and an end date, if we add it as a timeline to the dashboard, it automatically gets formatted for us, and we just have to configure a couple things. So I'm going to group this by priority. And if we wanted to, we can group by second factor. So for example, assign 2 if we wanted to. We don't need to for our purposes. We'll just leave it as group by priority. We'll title this project timeline. Awesome. Last thing I'd like to add, again, we talked at the start about having these dashboards be not only providers of information, but landing pages and home pages for the portfolio itself. When your Smartsheet, system gets really built out, these workspaces can get super deep. So having these dashboards serve as a landing page that we can easily navigate through is very powerful. So I'm going to do a link to the portfolio intake sheet. I'm going to have this stacked, and I'm not going to have a title. I think it's unnecessary. Perfect. What we're going to do is we are just going to take this widget, oops, and we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it 4 times. And what we'll do on each of these is just change what we're linking to. So I linked to the intake sheet. I would also like to link to the metrics sheet. And then I'm going to link on these two. I'm going to link to the work breakdown schedule template so that we can easily kind of create these new projects straight from the from the dashboard itself. And then we'll link to all of our work breakdown schedules. Oops. Perfect. We'll go ahead and save that. Laura asks, how often does the information update? We'll talk about that we can talk about that in 2 seconds. I'll show it up here. Um, Smartsheet comes with 9 built out kind of color schemes. You can also create your own. When you create your own, you can save it. And then what you can actually do is upload these. So I've gone ahead and created one earlier that I'm fond of, and I just uploaded that, and the entire dashboard automatically updates. So here you can see that took us about 10 minutes, and we've built out a super useful dashboard. Not only does it contain what project is starting next, but it contains the approval status, budget breakdown, as well as serves as a landing page with these 4 useful links. Under View, you can see this Auto Refresh tab. This allows us to control how often the information is updating. So for near real time, we can set it to every minute. And then what you can do is set this in presentation mode, and this will be up on a screen somewhere, and every minute the information is being pulled from the underlying sheets. In terms of pulling data from external sources, you can do that up to every 15 minutes through Smartsheet Data Shuttle. and that will be the topic of our next webinar. So if you're curious about pulling data from OneDrive or from Google Drive or uploading data between different sheets, we'll talk about that next time. I'm super excited about it. For sharing capabilities, see up here we have this share button. We can share to the dashboard or to the workspace itself. Again, this requires no licenses. All it requires is a Smartsheet account within your organization. So you can type in wherever you'd like to add, give them viewer or admin permissions. The other way we can do that is with this publish button. So this creates a publicly accessible URL. Um, we can revoke that at any time. So if we want to pull that back, we can, but this just allows it to be shared to external stakeholders or otherwise anyone that you would like to be able to view the dashboard without having a Smartsheet account in your organization. You can also, of course, print this and attach it as a PDF. But if you do it via the link, then the information is updating and it's the most up-to-date information is pulled every time that link is accessed. The last feature I wanted to chat about, again, we've talked already about making these dashboards serve as landing pages and being able to navigate. Under the widget behavior, you can decide what happens when someone clicks the widget. So this is super useful because it allows you to have these widgets themselves serve as links to other areas. So I want to say open the data source. So now not only can we see what's starting next, but when we click on it, it takes us straight to the intake sheet. You could have this link to an external URL or the data source on any of those widgets that we configured. Lovely. That wraps up our dashboard construction. That should be. Is there anything else I want to chat about? I think that's about it. If there was any questions or if anyone would like to chime in with anything, please feel free. We've got a few minutes now to chat about things. We'll also preview show data shuttle. Next webinar, which will be in a month or two, we'll announce it, is it's going to be on this data shuttle. So here's some of the ones we've written internally. We can pull data between sheets, and we can, on these, we're actually updating drop downs within the sheets themselves between options that we have. So super useful. Um, if there are no questions, we might just wrap it up there. Give it a couple minutes, see if anyone chimes in with anything. Well, if not, thank you all so much for joining. As it says on the slide, please reach out to us if you have any questions. I'd be happy to show or go through anything, any Smartsheet questions you have. Sure, most of the people on here are in our LinkedIn group, but we'll be posting. We have been and will continue to be posting tips, tricks, upcoming webinars. Stay tuned for our next one. I'm super excited to dive into data shuttles. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And thank you so much for joining. Is the dashboard compatible with other tools like Power BI? Absolutely. Um, Power BI, can I see this? There's already a purpose built Power BI connection. So that information that you have built out on that external sources can automatically be placed on the dashboard. So absolutely, it's compatible. Whether that be pulling the chart itself or the underlying data, uh, absolutely, it's compatible. Thank you so much for the question. Perfect. Yeah, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much.